Welcome to the RC Roundtable podcast, where we discuss the latest RC hobby news, events, model reviews, and a whole lot more.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the RC Roundtable, a very special episode of the Blossom Table. It's a 200-ish. That's 200 mostly episode of the RC Roundtable. We're still here. We're still strong.
We're still here.
Yeah, I feel like we're a middle school. Just a couple of episodes, we celebrated 8 years.
8 years.
And so we celebrate our first day. We celebrate our first kiss. We celebrate the first time you walked me to class. We never find a shortage of anything to celebrate. But happy 200th, fellas.
Yeah, it's 200-ish. I want to tell people, I sent this to Terry, not sure I sent it to Fitz, but because we've done some 0.5 episodes like we did last time, I went back and counted. So this is actually the 215th episode.
Well, this partial was added up?
If you count the little mini ones,
yeah.
This is the 215th episode. So thank you for being for the 200-ish episodes, but I guess from now on we'll start counting them accordingly.
I don't know why, but I was thinking of all things, Superman 3, I think. The one that had the comedian in it. What's his name? Remember his name? He's real famous. Well, anyways, Richard Pryor, that's it. He became rich by basically skimming off fractions of pennies from I forgot what it was.
Yeah, that was the scheme that was also an Office Space that they. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Was it? I don't remember that.
That they attribute to Superman. Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay.
I keep moving the decimal.
Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us for our milestone-ish episode. We really appreciate it. It's been a great ride. Hopefully, it continue to be a good ride or a great ride. And this thing is the beast has grown beyond our control, and so we keep doing this thing, and because of that, people are crazy enough to come on our show.
I know. Do they have nothing better to do on a Monday
really?
night?
You'd think they would run, like their tail behind their legs or something, avoid us like a plague, but it doesn't happen. So we're fortunate enough to have people that actually want to try and talk to us for some reason.
Hello, losers.
Yeah, losers.
Fellow losers. One of us.
How's that saying go? I'd never join a club that would have me as a member.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sounds like a Churchill's quote or something.
Yeah. Well, anyways,
welcome everybody. Speaking of someone we can't call him a loser. That would be unfair. I was tempted to, but he's not. But we have a very special guest joining us on this episode to join us in our milestone celebration. And without any further ado, it's Mark Lanterman from Old School Model Works. Greetings, Mark. Great, glad you could join us.
I've never felt more loved in my life.
Or belonged.
Loser.
Welcome, fellow loser.
By the way, it was Brewster's Millions, I think, was the name you were searching for.
No, this was Superman. Brewster's Million was when he was. He would get a bunch of money if he spent a bunch of money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had to spend it all in a certain amount of time. Yeah.
Right. Fair enough.
But good kudos for remembering that one. Obscure Richard Pryor movies.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have to be careful challenging them on any obscure movie reference, because these two guys, the Trivial Pursuit, they're hell.
Well, speaking of Trivial Pursuit, I guess remind you, Terry, about the bingo card?
Oh, yeah. So this is a live show, and our last live show, we created these bingo cards so that our normal idiosyncrasies, when they pop up, you get to add a dot to your bingo card and let us know when you get bingo, because there's no prize other than bragging rights. And last time, we also asked people if there's more idiosyncrasies we haven't captured on there. We've got a list from last time. We'd like to add to that and eventually come out with a broader set of cards to make this fun for everybody. So I just reposted those images on our Facebook page. So if you want to go out there and grab a few, then there they are.
Yeah, if you don't have one, grab this one. Just we'll have a whole bunch of winners.
Yeah.
The center's always free. Kyosho, there you go. You get the free one. The center
I don't
free.
think it's the same on every card, though.
But it should be. The center one should always be free.
I predict I will be saying that word tonight. All right, Fitz, you ready to take it away?
Maybe.
Take it away, Terry.
All right,
Let me say something before you get started.
Sure.
Let me congratulate you boys on the 200-ish, 215, 205, whatever this is.
Don't get technical with us.
Anything that stays around for this amount of time in our industry is a rare thing. And it's good that you guys keep doing this and supporting the hobby, supporting little guys like me and everybody else out there. Appreciate it. You guys are doing good work.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. You know, sometimes I wonder if we still lived in the same city, if this would go as well. Because for us, this is kind of our reunion every couple of weeks where we reconnect and catch every weekend. Like, oh, God. These guys again.
It doesn't stop you, Terry, from criticizing me every time I call, giving me some kind of grief. I forgot to do something, or hey, did you remember to yada yada?
That's a two-way street there, Paco.
I feel like you're right next door.
It's funny though, even though Lee and I are in the same city, we might as well be in different states because it's on the other side of each other.
Yeah, again, Houston's an hour from Houston.
Yeah, exactly.
we are on opposite sides of Houston.
Yes. Well. Speaking of support, Mark, I was just made aware today you got a new product announcement over at Old School Model Works. We should know, I guess, Old School Model Works produces a whole big line of kits, old-fashioned kind of kits. Hence the name, Old School Model Works. Kit, you get a box of wood and some instructions, and you got to say make plane, and if you follow the instructions, you come up with a really nice plane of some sort.
I've seen those instructions. I think I came with my SIG quick build. Here parts build.
Well, tell us all about it.
Hopefully my instructions are a little better than that. But
no, they're quite good. Actually, has some humor in them too. So,
well, our new kit is called the Raven, and it's my first foray into ducted fans. Every kit that I've put out, for the most part, has been doing a different genre. We've done some sports scale stuff, gliders, pylon racer, pattern ships. Flying wings of different sorts. And this was yet another genre that I hadn't tried before. And I've been trying to do a ducted fan for a while for various reasons. Didn't come through on the design or some copyright issues or whatever. And what I was going to do before this one was released was something completely different. It wasn't a ducted fan at all. And it fell through for copyright reasons. So I said, okay, I need something to do, something semi-easy to make. So I started looking, and I ran across something that was in an old Fly RC issue and was written by none other than a Mr., I think his name is Terry Dunn, something like that. Some crazy designer that
Sir Terry Dunn.
Sir Terry Dunn.
Even his mama don't like him.
He made something that was called the New Moon, and it was a small foamy. And actually what grabbed my attention more than anything else was, I think it was the cover shot of it, was a young Mr. Fitz holding this thing like an Olympic champion, like he was going to launch it into Mars. And that's what originally grabbed my attention. So I started looking at it a little more. And I contacted Terry and I said, hey, what do you think about me kind of taking this design? There we go. Taking your design and blowing it up a little bit and modifying it. And he said, fine, have at it. Sent me a whole bunch of files that I assume were used in the original original magazine article you're looking at right now. And I kind of ran with it. And we went through a few revisions. We'll get to that in a minute. But what ended up with was something that we're calling the Raven. And it's an all balsa and ply electric ducted fan, something that I think is pretty unique in the market, not only because of its shape, but I don't know of another balsa ducted fan out there. There might be one, but I tried looking up some, and the only thing I could come up with was Bob Parkinson stuff back in the 80s and 90s. So
Oh, wow. Yeah.
something different. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm really happy with how your version came out. I think the overall profile of it is very accurate to the original, but it's certainly got your own interpretation of it. So, yeah. More surprising than that is that you did this so quickly. I don't remember when you originally asked me, but you one day said, I'm going to start the prototype. And then it seemed like the next day you're like, yeah, okay, I'm ready to go fly. I'm like, holy cow. How does he do that? I can't build. Yeah, I can't build the foam version that quickly. And yeah, you must do this in your sleep because you are a very quick developer and builder.
Well, part of what helped me on this one is the wings are actually the same wings that are used in my Sunday Fighters, the World War II series, my 51 and my 109. Very small adaptation to it, but they're pretty much the same wing. The fuselage really wasn't tricky other than figuring out how to get the scoop in the top, the airflow duct, how to do that. But the fuselage is, they're pretty much slab sides and with a little curvature and a profile. And I had to figure out how to get a wing on and off, which you didn't have to do in yours.
Right.
And
that's neat.
the original that I did, I'll be honest, the original one was almost dead on what Terry's was. It was exactly the same profile, just bigger. And had the same fan unit and everything, but in his, it's actually is a taller profile. It's probably another inch and a half taller if you look at like the original one that was in the article with Fitz there. Built that up. That's the one that Terry just referred to. I had that done in, I don't know, a couple weeks, something like that, ready to go. And told Terry about it, showed him some pictures. I wish us luck. We're going out. It didn't have landing gear, similar to what Terry's original foamy was like. Said, well, maybe we've got enough power we can get this off the ground, like a water plane, or maybe worst case scenario. That's the Raven that's in the video.
Yeah, I heard that. I was like, I was trying to mute.
Excuse me.
But trying to get it off the ground, my field does not have short enough grass. It just wasn't going to work. And I was kind of tired. I said, okay, well, we're just going to try the Fitz method here, and I'm going to throw this thing to Mars and see what happens. So I revved it up and gave it everything I had, and it went about 40 feet before it was just kind of I didn't have enough power or enough arm to do it. Just a nice gentle glide into the ground. It caught a wing, tumbled. That was the end of that prototype. But that's why we test these things. And we test everything that we make. So a little frustrated, I went back and hemmed and hawed on what to do. I took the original fuselage and rebuilt it enough to make a test wheel out of it. I originally tried a center wheel, just one center wheel in the fuse like gliders have. Mm-hmm. Figured, man, maybe that would be enough. But you'd need some outriggers to really hold the wing steady, and it just never really worked. Tried a few other designs, and I finally figured out, okay, we're just going to put some landing gear on this thing and get this thing off the ground. So I changed the design a little bit, and it's a little shorter, a little more. The fuselage is the same width, but it's a little, sleeker. I don't know if that's the right term, but it was enough to save enough weight. So if when I added the landing gear back on it, it was a net wash. And that's what we ended up with. And that since then has been working great.
Oh,
so,
cool.
It's a neat design.
So the original, sorry to interrupt, the original used the Great Plains fan, which I think was 56 millimeter. And this one is 64 millimeter?
64. And to be honest, it's not a special fan. It's one that I bought off Motion RC. I'm not even sure if it's the proper KD value for this. It's just something that they had I think it was $35 with the motor. Said,
Oh, wow.
let's try this thing. And as you can see in the video there, it works.
Oh, cool. And it's a 4-cell battery?
Yes, 4S pack.
Okay.
Happens to be a 3200 in this one. Could be a touch nose heavy with that, so 28. I'm not sure where the cutoffs are on batteries these days, but 26 to 3000 milliamps, somewhere in that range, will easily give you a good hearty 5 minutes of flying aerobatically. And if you throttle back, you can probably get 7-8 minutes out of it.
Well, what's the point of that with an EDF?
Exactly.
All right. So what's the
And
wingspan on this thing?
Wingspan is 47.25 inches.
Okay, so that's like a good 50% bigger than the original, which I think was 30.5 inch wingspan.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see one of these in person just to kind of compare. Not that I have my original anymore, but just to kind of see it.
Here, I gotta.
Oh, there we go. Lee, can you put Mark on the big screen?
Let's see which way I gotta hold this. This way.
Oh, cool.
Looks pretty much like this.
Yeah, nice. And
Here's the channel I was mentioning.
okay,
Channel, basically the channel, put it this way so you can see it, lets the air go basically all the way through unencumbered. And that's actually Terry's design. That I just copied it.
Is it just curved balsa? The channel?
Yes.
Channel, whatever?
Basically, this is 16th balsa here, and you do it in halves. So do one half, do the other half, and it's wet it with some Windex and easy to do. But other than that, I really didn't change much from his initial design. The wing, I think, is slightly lower because of the landing gear, and this center section comes off, so the wing can come off.
okay.
Which you didn't have to do with your foamy. So I lowered that a little bit to make this section smaller. But other than that, this is pretty much the same idea as what you had, other than there's a hatch up front where you put your battery. I don't
Very nice.
know. Did you have a hatch? I don't remember if you had a hatch.
I did. Yeah, just a piece of flat foam, basically the same way yours is, but it was hinged with tape, so a little more crude.
Hey, Mark, can you answer this person? I know what Windex is for, but can you explain why Windex is used for that shaping?
Sure. Windex has ammonia in it, and when you spray the side that you want to curve, don't spray both sides, but the side that you want to curve, you can actually watch it. You actually douse it, spray a ton of it on there, and just let it sit, and you can actually watch the balsa just bend, and you can then apply it a little more. You got to work out a little bit. You can hit it with a heat gun or hair dryer or something to hold that shape, and then apply some more if you want. But it's really good in loosening up all the fibers that's in the balsa, and let you just not bend around, not like a tennis ball, but you can bend in basically one axis. You can
along the grain.
Along the grain.
Yeah.
Yes, along the grain. Good point. It doesn't go across.
So, would you mind holding that up again where the channel for the exhaust is? So, Fitz, what does that remind you of? Maybe it's my own.
The channel wing?
Yeah, like the Custer channel wing. I wonder if we're getting any lift from that area with that air blowing over the top like that.
Certainly laminar flow, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
As they lift. Probably not, because they would pitch the nose down, wouldn't it?
It would maybe change where your CG would be best, but I don't know. When Mark put that up there, I'm like, oh, that looks like a Custer channel wing. I wonder if that's contributing to any of the lift. So,
Here, I got something.
I don't know.
Go ahead.
Mark, did the CG end up kind of where you expected it to be?
Yep, it's exactly on the right on the spar, which is basically right here, and it works out quite well.
All right.
The only thing that I found with it, the ailerons on the prototype, I've since solved the problem, but the ailerons on prototype were massively touchy. I fly touchy stuff anyway, but holy cow! I mean, this thing was like this.
Really?
Any little input. So I dialed them down, put in a ton of expo while we were doing the test flights, and got it since then I've changed the throws a little bit and got some stuff. We're going to shrink the aileron section on the prototypes as well, since you don't need near that much control.
Right.
Look at that little baby one.
Yeah, I found this in my archives. Another picture. I don't think this made the magazine. I think maybe Lee, did you take this or somebody took this?
I don't think it was me.
It would have been Lee, I believe, because I was looking through my old files today, and I had the original stuff from this article, and there was a directory in there that said Lee's photos. And
Well, yes, I did take that photo. I remember now vividly. How could I forget? But I almost
think
wonder,
you're credited.
is this Tom Bass?
I
think
think
it
it
was.
is. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. I think it's Tom Bass Park because there's a fence. I see that fence there, and I think
yeah,
that's
that's definitely not JSC. I don't
yeah.
know why we
Yeah.
went to Tom Bass, but I know we went there a few times. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, who knows? Is that still an active field?
Yeah, it is.
Tom
yeah.
Bass. It is,
Okay.
and they have a FRIA.
All right. Well, I set aside some of those images. Let me go through them real quick. I can show you some of the old ones. Present. You're going to have to walk me through this again. Nope, not that. So how do I do this? Present, and then share screen?
It might be window or
yes.
screen, depending
Yeah,
on
okay.
what you're doing.
By the way, Mike Leibel is here, and he mentioned that the pressure will be lower. Did y'all get that?
Yes, he would know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say he would.
All right. So I think I'm getting closer. There we go.
You can say
All
what
right.
pressure
So
though.
I'm going to share this. So can you guys see that?
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's another one.
Yeah.
That's even
So
better.
yeah, there we are. Same day.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see from that top view just how simple that fuselage is. It was, I don't remember the exact genesis of this design, but from what I recall, Thayer called me one day. Thayer was the executive editor of FlyRC, and he said, "We're going to do an all EDF issue. We need a design for it. Do you have anything in your back pocket?" I'm like, "Nope, but give me a day, and I'll come up with some sketches."
No pressure,
And-
huh?
The first thing I came up with, Fitz, you'll remember this, it was the EDF-powered float plane, which the profile looked a lot like this. If you can imagine a step in the bottom of this, but move the wing up high and then put some outrigger floats on it.
Okay,
I'm like-
yeah.
And remember that thing stuck to the
Yes.
water like there was Velcro on the bottom of it.
Yeah,
It would not get on plane. The couple times I did get it off the water was a total fluke, but it would just stand vertically on the tail when you try to taxi it.
the plane
So-
is a better boat.
It wasn't even a good boat. It was not good for much of anything. Anyway, so then I gave up the water idea, and then I went with this, just a simple sport plane, and that did well from the first flight. And I flew it with everything from a 3-cell 1300 to a 4-cell 2200 on that same fan, and it was a neat little airplane. It would do these really cool tumbles. And then one day I tumbled it right into the ground, but it did great knife edge and other stuff. So I had fun with it, but I never rebuilt it. And then a few years ago, some guys out on the West Coast were doing some sort of club project, and they upscaled it to use 70 millimeter fans, but it was still wire cut wings and the slab sided foam fuselage. So I bought a set of wings from them thinking I was going to build one of their upsized versions. I've still got all those parts sitting in a box. I haven't done anything with it yet. So I'm super pumped that Mark asked me about this, and he pulled the trigger and did everything so fast. And so, yeah.
Something
Thanks,
I'm
Mark.
noticing on this must be an early prototype. So if you notice your elevator is a different shape, the one that I patterned mine off of is a swept forward elevator, and those are stab, I should say. And the elevator, it looks like, actually extends past the end of the fuselage on there. So you must have made some alterations.
That's possible. I don't remember. I wonder if it's the angle of the V-tail playing some tricks on our eyes, because it would have had a perfectly straight leading edge on the V-tail like a Mooney is, and then swept in the back. So
Do you have like a black painting on the back there? Maybe that's we're just not seeing it because it's black.
I don't think so. I think it does actually hang off. Let me go through a couple more of the
It
photos.
could be the way angle I'm holding it.
Yeah, and you can see from the side view what it was
Yeah.
supposed to be like. So it might have just been perspective. making it look like it was sweat.
Picture of me launching it.
Yeah. Or you're sticking your tongue out like Michael Jordan.
Wait, see, you're saying launching it. I'm thinking the word is chucking it. You're like,
To the moon, Alice.
oh, there you go. That's nice.
That reminded me, Terry, wouldn't it do a ROG off of grass, right?
Yep, it would. Yeah, with the right grass, and I remember that Tom Bass Park grass was nice and brown when we were out there, so very dry and easy to scoot across. And here you can kind of see the hatch, and you see the seam of it there, and then the tape that holds it down. So not very elegant, but it did the job. Yeah, let's see what else I got here. There's the full shot of Fitz chucking it. I think there's a couple of these.
Look at that man go.
You got to fly, damn it.
There you go with your cape on.
Yeah, that's definitely Tom Bass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one more with the windsock. So.
Another one. I guess we were doing a bunch of.
And here's, I guess, when I was attaching the wings and had everything set up to get the right incidence. So these were wire cut wings, which I guess these days you could build it up with foam or whatever. But just as a reference, since we're here talking about the Raven anyway. So anyway, just that was the original, meant to be very simple. You can see it was small. So I'm really glad that it's still around. Like I said, I think this was, if I look at the dates on these photos, it says 2010. Oh, does that magazine article have a date on it?
Sure, that one. Was it that long ago?
Yeah, right?
Wow.
That's what I was thinking.
Is there a date on the Word file that you sent to me?
You know what? There could be there too. So let me look at that.
January 20th, 2011.
2011. Wow, look at that.
Wow.
And then here, the attribution in the article, photos, Terry Dunn and Lee Ray. Thank you, Lee Ray.
That's why I'm here.
All right, so Mark, let's focus on your version of it. When is this thing going to be released, and how do they get it, and all this stuff?
The plan is right now, it should be released in the first, what I'm saying is the first part of July. That doesn't mean the 1st of July, doesn't necessarily mean the first week of July, but in the first, at least half of July. Most of the work is already done. The laser cut sheets, I think, are already done and ready to cut. The biggest thing is the manual. The manual is what I always struggle with. I normally get everything else done, and then it comes time to write that stupid manual. And so here we go. And, onward and onward we go, step after step. The biggest thing in the manual is to remember the steps that you did and put them in the correct order. So when you guys get one, or whoever gets one, that they don't miss putting, this former in or this piece in until it's too late. And that's what I struggle with the most. But
that reminds me of my favorite joke. Step 1, cut the blue wire. Step 2, before you cut the blue wire, cut the green wire.
Exactly.
So I kind of have a question on that. Do you dry run it, or do you have somebody else look it over, or do you have somebody that builds a prototype with your instructions to make sure you didn't miss anything or something like that?
I used to do that on the very first things that we do, like my first ones with the Robin Hood and Sky Ranger and those. I would have guys that do that, but I'm producing these fast enough now that there really isn't time, and I don't have guys near to me that can do what I need them to do. So I feel comfortable enough. I adopted this a couple years ago. I feel comfortable enough in doing what I'm doing because I've normally built 4 or 5 prototypes by the time we're ready to go anyway. And I certainly have with this one. And by the time, you get everything refined and you're ready to do the kit. So I won't say I'm perfect by any means, but what I tell the guys that find mistakes in there is that my manuals, I call them a living thing. I'm small enough now, or small enough company, that when I print, I only print enough for whatever the order is. I don't make 400 manuals and keep them on the shelf. So I can adapt and fix. And well, a fix is probably the best way to put it, all my mistakes. But thankfully, I have a pretty good track record on it. So normally it's just spelling or grammar errors, not too many, swapped former F4 for F9 type thing.
Well,
built 2 left wings.
I would presume that you have a pretty consistent methodology. So if you've built one of your kits, any other kit from your line is probably going to go together in a similar way. Pretty
much, yeah. This one is going to alter slightly just because of the top of the fuse. But like I said, the wings I've already done. Those have been around for a couple of years in my fighters. And as you know, the fuse really isn't anything revolutionary. It's just a different shape. Actually the biggest thing the other thing I had in construction was figuring out how to make the V-tail strong enough. And once I figured that out, and it's actually very simple. Once I figured that out, it was a piece of cake. So
I think Beechcraft had that same issue some time ago.
So it's coming along. Like I say, it should be sometime in the first part of July. How they can get one now, I opened up for pre-order on Friday to everybody that's subscribed to my newsletter, and I opened it up to the rest of the world today. There's posts on my Facebook and Instagram, and you'll find it on the website. There's pre-order now. We do first come, first served on the order. So right now, if you were to order, there's already 30 or so in front of you, but we'll ship them out as soon as we can. And that's basically how we run it.
Yeah, cool. So when somebody orders one of these kits, what do you provide and what will they have to provide themselves?
You will get everything needed to complete the airframe to exactly what is shown in the picture on the screen, sans the wheels. The wheels are not in there, but all the balsa that was in the picture that was just on the screen, you get everything there. You supply your own power system, radio, obviously, push rods. Don't have to worry about fuel tank with this one, but do your own covering, that sort of thing. We supply in the hardware pack. There's the hatch for the latch, CA hinges for all the movable surfaces. The metal for the landing gear is already pre-built. We've got the Duracollars in there and all that sort of stuff. So it's fairly comprehensive to get it built as an airframe, and of course you add your own stuff after that.
Well, speaking of that, is it designed for a particular fan, or is it somewhat flexible for different companies' versions of that 64 millimeter?
I think it should be flexible. Now, that being said, I don't have dimensions on everybody's fans, but they all seem to have, as long as you get the same 64 millimeter diameter, they all have the same mounting lugs on the side, from what I've seen. On my kit that mounts into there's some plywood rails on either side. So you can easily modify that rail and move it along. And this, bring this back. This right now is taped on, but let's see if I can use this is held on with magnets. Of course, I'm not going to be able to get it off right now because it's also got tape. Here we go. So that's how the fan is in there. And there's basically these two little ears on either side. And almost every fan I've seen has these ears. The only difference I would guess is if they're forward or back a little bit. But this mounts on plywood here, and these are plywood rails. So you could easily modify that if you had a slightly different variant.
I was going to joke to say, this is made for 64. Who's going to be the first to put an 80 or 90? And then Russell Bear puts this here, his comment. So I think it's just a matter of how much you're willing to modify it to fit it in there. So Russell asked if you can fit an 80 millimeter. So yeah, go for it.
Basic math there, 64 does not equal 80. So you will have to do some modification. It's made for 64, and 80 is going to be another half-inch wider or so on each side probably. So not saying you can't do it.
Yeah. All right, cool. So any more to say on the Raven?
Buy lots, buy them early, buy often.
All right. Yeah, I'm excited about this. So again, Mark, thanks for reaching out and for taking this on as a project. I'm tickled pink with it.
I am too. It flies. I guess that's the one thing we didn't tackle. It does fly pretty good. It's not as I mentioned in the website, this is aerobatic, but it's not a pattern ship. You're not going to do, you're not going to be Hanno Prittner out there doing all sorts of stuff. But it's designed in the same way that Terry designed the original, as he referred to as a very light jet. The classification that the EAA or the FAA, whoever it has, for small passenger jets. And this is along those same lines, except in RC, we can make it slightly aerobatic. So it'll roll and loop, half Cuban, split S's, that sort of thing. If you're really put the controls up, you'll get some pretty violent snap rolls. I wouldn't recommend them necessarily unless you're very high up in the air so you can get out of them. But I've also mixed in flaperons on mine as an experiment, and they work very well to really slow it down for landing. So yeah, it's a nice all around machine.
All right, cool. I think I'm going to have to build one. So look for my pre-order to come in. All right, so Fitz, what's next on the agenda?
We had something about the EAA and old school. I'm not sure the context of that. What was that?
That's me.
That's you. Okay.
I know.
Lee, you're up.
So, Mark, I have not had this conversation with you, but I had a conversation about this at EAA, with EAA members, last year at AirVenture, because I work in the Blue Barn. First off, Mark, have you been to AirVenture?
Several times.
Have you been to the Blue Barn?
I don't think I have, no.
Okay. So I've been working the Blue Barn since I've been with the AMA, and it's a great location to be with EAA chapters that are doing Young Eagles programs, where the EAA has the Build and Fly program, where they've partnered with the AMA and Horizon Hobby, and now you, which is really cool because I just learned that today. Your name was mentioned as a possible another kit manufacturer, and I'm going to pull this screen up now because I'd like to say thank you, because we need this kind of stuff. And I will have Terry cut me off because if I ramble too much, it's because I'm very passionate about this program. But if you're not familiar with this, folks, please visit EAA's website. This is their Build and Fly program where they try to get youth who are interested in flying to learn how to build a model aircraft first while they're training at an EAA chapter airport. And I have had great conversations with both EAA members, AMA clubs that are providing their club field for people to fly, and the young kids who are building model airplanes to understand aircraft, to understand what it's like to build it, what the functions do, so that they can move on to full-scale aircraft and build them, which many of these clubs have done, using sport planes. In like Zeniths and RVs, these kids are helping them build these aircraft, and then they're getting their pilot's license. But this is really nice, Mark. Congratulations, because you are now the official kit supplier for the Build and Fly program with a really cool aircraft. We're talking about the old Goldberg Falcon 56, and this is your 56, which is awesome. And I only have this photo on this screen here. You have it on your website. I'll try to scoot back in a little bit. But again, this is a great program. Thank you for doing this. I'm looking forward to being an AirVenture in about a month. I've asked my contacts there if they'll have a kit available by then, because I'd like to be able to open up the package and show people these kits. But I'm also wondering if we might be able to build one while we're there, because this will be our version of Build Week, like EAA does for their full-scale aircraft. I really would like to be part of that. So. Did you like to add anything? I think I've done everything. Terry's going to say, did you give Mark a chance to say anything?
The EAA reached out to me roughly August of last year, so almost a year ago. They were having problems getting the kits that they were using from the previous supplier. And I said, sure, I'd be happy to help, but I want to make sure I want it to be known that I'm not actively trying to replace these people. If you can't get them and you're having trouble, I'll gladly step in. You guys make the call on this. And a couple months down the road, once they'd figured out all the right options for themselves, they reached back out to me, and I talked with John and Sean and a few other guys out there several times, and they said they wanted to come on board. And we talked about which airplane to do, and went around this and that, and basically settled on the 56. The only difference from their 56 is you'll see a canopy on this one. Theirs is not supplied with a canopy. The reason being, when Goldberg designed these back in the day, that canopy is actually formed off of one of their canopies, except that's also where the rubber bands have to go to hold the wing on, and you really can't have rubber bands crisscrossing over a canopy or under a canopy or around a canopy. It never really worked. So what I did is make an exchange. Instead of doing that, if you want to bring my screen up for a quick second,
Oh,
we
I don't know if we.
supply them.
Oh, your
We
screen. There you
supply
go.
them with a whole EAA package.
Oh,
Basically,
neat.
we tell them to cover it in white, and these stickers are provided for them, which goes on the bottom of the wings and on the elevator. And of course, there's EAA logos and 56 stuff where they want to, wherever they want to stick them, type of thing. And that way they can kind of customize it and make it look like the design the EAA was looking for. So we throw those in there with every kit. And we've been doing this for, I want to say 4 months now, give or take a little bit. We've got a few dozen kits out to various chapters around the country. I've just got another order in, another one going out tomorrow. Excuse me, tomorrow. And I think it's going to work pretty good. I've worked with them. My contact, the EAA, she wasn't up on all the RC part of it. So I worked with them how to tailor the kit that comes with it to match our kit more than the prior kit. So they've come a long way, and I think it's a pretty cool program. Like I say, I'd love to take credit for it, but it's nothing to do with me. I just happen to step in, for somebody else, but I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm very proud of it.
Oh, I'm grateful too, because I certainly wanted to keep that program alive, and I wanted to make sure it was a kit. I didn't think it should have been an ARF at all. This is perfect, and I will say, last year, 2 years ago, when I was with my boys at AirVenture, they were doing the weekly build, the 1 week build, and we got to get our hands on a rivet gun, be part of that. I think that's the same kind of feeling here. When you put your hands on something and you build it, it becomes yours. You take ownership of it. And so, again, what a great plane. And I'm sharing the screen again. So for those of you who want a vintage Goldberg 56, type aircraft, here you go. Nice laser cut, kit right here. It's available now, right? In stock, ready to go?
Yep, we cut them to order. The only difference between this one and the original, there's two differences. Mr. Goldberg, back in the day, liked ribs in his wings. And there are 10 gazillion ribs in his wings, which is fine. He sold lots of them. He knew what he was doing. I changed that. There's still a lot of ribs in there, but there's nowhere near as much. And I spaced them out far enough so we can actually get servos up into the wings, because they didn't do that back in the day. They'd always put one in the center. But we changed that, and we changed the nose by widening it a bit. The original one says it would fly on a 19 to a 25. Except if you wanted to use a 19 to 25, you had to chop off those cheek sections, because a 25 wouldn't fit inside the fuselage that he gave to you. You'd always have a flat nose on the front of the thing. So we altered that a little bit. But other than that, it's exactly the same airfoil-shaped stab. The whole works, same incidences.
Yeah, I noticed that.
No reason to change something that was perfect from the get-go.
So is that considered a lifting tail?
No, it's a symmetrical airfoil, so
okay.
it's just airfoil shaped.
Gotcha. All right. Very cool. So Fitz, you ready for the next thing? Because it's all about you, buddy.
It's all about me?
Yeah.
You came up with a list.
Well, what I did is I went to the Hobby View YouTube page and what has Fitz done lately? And there's quite a lot. And you weren't on the last show, so this is like a whole month's worth or more. But you've been doing a lot of fly-in of a lot of different things. So give us the elevator pitch on some of that stuff.
Sure.
Please.
I see you had a big list of stuff. I'm just making a note here.
Well, pick one. We don't have to go through everything about you.
Oh.
Well, there's some... I think it should be two, because he's talked about the F-86 before, and then the big one, the hot, smelly one, we should also talk about.
So, which two do you want me to talk about? Okay. Or do you want me to just go through the list real quick?
Start with your F-86, please.
Okay. Well, the F-86 is flown. It's the FMS F-86, the new one that came out recently with the working air brakes. So, as you said, I have a video on that. That one was really neat, although I had one nitpick. For some reason, they had you link the air brakes with the flaps. So you lower the flaps and the air waves will pop out. And I thought, well, that's kind of weird, but it's just a Y connector, so you can quickly unplug it and plug it into a separate channel and separate the air brakes from the flaps. But once I did that, everything else went really well. It's a fine flying model. It's really, really nice, easy handling, pretty good speed. It's a little chunky, so it doesn't have unlimited vertical, but it's a really, really fun plane to fly. Pretty easy to see with the yellow strikes. One of the neat things is when you land, especially if you use the lighter battery pack, I use a 4000 or 5006S, you can land it and hold the nose up as you're rolling down, so you get a really nice scale effect of aerodynamic braking as you're rolling down the runway on landing. So that's, you see that in one of the videos, or I think the second landing I did. Also, the drop tanks don't seem to do much difference to the flight envelope. It's really nice, maybe just a touch slower, but other than that, I think it actually improves the knife edge a little bit with the tanks. So you can fly, do everything you want to do with or without the tanks. This might be it. They're showing a landing there.
No.
Nope, no, that was that was my first landing.
It was a carrier landing.
And experimenting, I mean, I had full flaps, and plus it's got narrow landing gear on it, as normal F-86s. Maybe it was the second landing there. So it's a cool plane, and F-86s are neat planes to fly. I didn't have any issues. I did some stall tests, didn't do anything weird. There we go. You can sort of float it down. Look at that, and then hold the nose up. That was neat. It's funny, with the gear down, the tanks, and open air brakes, it does get draggy. It will slow down pretty quickly. So if you do that, you got to keep the power in. Otherwise, it'll pull it right out of the air. So that's pretty neat. So I have a lot of fun flying around, popping the air brakes down for landing, making steeper to normal approaches. It's you don't notice the extra air intakes when you're flying it. It's got some on the side and stuff. People were talking about that. So that's I give it a thumbs up on that one.
All right. Cool.
So next one was,
what's the wingspan on that one?
I think it's 40 something inches. I don't remember exactly. Sorry. It's
You should
decent
put that
size
in-
though.
If you put that in your description, I could read it off, but you didn't.
I didn't. No, maybe I should put that kind of
I'm
stuff.
sorry.
So I have to go look it up. 48 inches.
Okay, so I wasn't too far off. Which one do you have next?
I had the UMX P51 listed too.
Oh yeah, so that one I just flew very recently. I'm still working on the video on that, but I have flown it. Flew it this past weekend, and man, that thing is more fun than a barrel of monkeys with swords. So it's the updated version. I picked up the original one not that long ago at a swap meet, because I thought, hey, the UMX P51 would be kind of neat for indoor flying. The original one with a single cell, I don't know, maybe 300 milliamp hour battery pack. And
Brushed.
so the new was it brushed?
I think there was originally a brushed one, then they did a 2S brush. I don't know.
Well, anyway, I know it's a single cell. It might be brushed. And it flew okay. And so this new one is 2 or 3S 300 milliamp hour battery pack. And so I flew it on both. First flew it on a 2-cell, and it flew great. It was a lot of fun. It zipped around. It's got, AS3X and safe and that kind of stuff. It's tooting around. But man, when I put 3S in it, it was like, it went from like the original P51s went from an Allison to the Merlin. This thing was really zippy. This thing was like a little mini pylon racer with the 3S in it. You'll see in the video. I came over fairly close to crashing it. Actually, I was doing I think it was a blender, a little too low, and I pulled out of it. But that sucker is just it's a lot more fun than I thought it would be. It's small, so it's small.
Did you say a blender with a
I think it was a
P51?
blender. Yeah, I was goofing off with it. But it flies. It can be really fast, but you can slow it down. It puts around okay for a UMX plane, but it's really gets adrenaline rolling when you put the 3S in it.
Fitz, it's this one, right?
Yes.
Sorry about that. I was just trying to pull it up.
No, there's a problem. I forgot what's on the nose. The Detroit Miss.
Detroit
You know what's
Miss.
funny? When I was a kid, I built a plastic model of the Detroit Miss.
I think the Monogram 148 scale kit had those.
I think that's what it
markings.
was. Yeah, I had that
think
model. I had
about
it for the longest time. I had it to almost fairly recently.
Did you put firecrackers in it like I did with mine? Fitz, you're
He's
muted there,
muted.
buddy.
No, sorry. No, I like my models better than that.
All right.
So, and you can pull the landing gear off. And so I did some ROGs and I did some hand launching of it as
All
well.
right.
So yeah, they got a winner on that one. That was a lot of fun.
All right, and a scale-looking prop. That's cool.
Yeah, the 4-blade prop really does really well.
All right, so the other one is the Cherokee. This is a Horizon Hobby commercial here. This whole segment.
Yeah, all Horizon all the time. No, just kidding. Yeah, Horizon Hobby Cherokee. I think that's the 1.3 meter ish.
1.2, 1.3, whatever it takes.
Yeah, whatever it takes. Yeah, 220, 220. So this one, another model that turned out to be more fun than I would expect from. It's a civilian aircraft. You can run it on 3 or 4S, 2200 up to 3200. And another one that was just a real fun sport plane. This one is really mild if you want it to be. So I could train somebody to fly on one of these as a trainer, but it is actually pretty aerobatic. It's not a 3D plane, but it's definitely something that would make a very good first low wing as easily, and something you can expand your aerobatic prowess with it. But it's nice. It's got flaps, and also it's got lights on it that are actually pretty bright. You can see them in the daytime pretty easily as you're doing flyby and stuff. And it's also neat being scale, all around good plane. It's more sprightly than I would have thought. Even on 3S, there wasn't a huge difference between 3 and 4S. They both were very, very powerful for it, and good. What do you call it? It's a good cruising plane, great for doing touch and goes. Very mild on install, but pretty much unlimited vertical on 4S. Even on 3S, it would kind of do it. You just would do it slowly. It did a neat thing when it would go straight up. It would still go, but it would slow down, and you could hear a prop cavitating, I believe. So it had a really distinctive sound when it was doing it. So
Cool.
And this one, you can, if I do, I don't know if this video shows it, but you can really slow it down on the landing. Oh, that one didn't do it. I was overspeeding it. That was a touch and go, that's why.
It was a touch and go.
Yeah, it was a
touch go.
Okay. And the last thing, I don't have a picture. It's on my phone. I forgot to download it, unless you guys copied it. So I don't know if I think I've mentioned it on the show. I know I've talked to you guys about it, but I am in the process of trying to get my turbine waiver. And I've had a turbine, HSD F-16 turbine for a little while now. It's been sitting there collecting dust. And I finally got a bee in my bonnet to get the waiver done so I can at least fly it. And so I've been working with somebody to check it out and get it running. And we've gotten it running around a bit, and we're all ready for flight. It has not flown, but I've done some taxi tests and run-ups and stuff. But I've never flown a turbine. Yeah, thanks Lee. Yeah, Lee came out and did some photos and stuff for it. And but we weren't able to test fly it.
Yeah, the winds were not cooperating that day, my friend.
They were not favorable, so no, unfortunately. So we'll have to wait. But I'm impatient. It's not a problem. But you know, it's a whole new game with turbines, and so there's a little bit of apprehension on my part. I guess it's normal, being it's a whole new beast. And because, like I said, I've never flown a turbine. Well, I had never flown a turbine until a couple of weeks ago when I was at a fly-in, and I think he was in the chat, as a matter of fact. The friend of mine, Russ, fellow club member, he was there with his MB339. I forgot the cover. I think it was...
Is that a Hangar 9?
No, it was like, I think Wind RC1, I believe. It definitely wasn't a Hangar 9. It was smaller than a Hangar 9 one.
Right.
And I think it was all or partially composite as well. And he was there flying it around, and I was telling him, hey, I'm working on my waiver. He says, oh, wow, that's cool. Want to fly mine?
No, it was Fitz Walker wants to fly my plane.
No, he offered.
I know.
Would you like to control this fragile bucket of money?
At first I was like, oh, I don't know. Maybe I'll wait to fly mine as a very first thing. But I thought about it, I was like, maybe I'll give it a taste of it. And so he took off, and once he was up, he said, here, give it a try. And I was flying that thing around for several minutes. I think he had an 80 size engine in it. Is
that 80 newtons thrust?
Yeah, 80 newtons.
Not
Yeah,
how
they
they
go
work,
by
okay.
the newtons.
Not.
They're all
Yeah, we were talking before in terms of millimeters. So
yeah,
we're
newtons.
changing units.
I think you can divide by 4 roughly or something like that or multiply by 0.4, something like that to get the pounds. But it was interesting because in some way it was anticlimactic. Not to say anything bad about it, or I'm not disparaging Russ anyway. It's just it flew like a really nice sport plane. It was just that you just had to kind of be a little easier on it and in the maneuvering, and you got a lag, of course, in the throttle. But other than that, it was a really nice flying model. Maybe because the MB339 is such a it's got a straight wing and it's very good moments, arms and stuff like that. But it was fun. I did a high speed pass and did a loop and a roll with it and stuff, and just kind of played with the throttle a bit. It was really, really neat. I really look forward to getting mine up in the air now. I'm a little less I'm less apprehensive about it.
Did you land it?
After doing that, I did not land it. I didn't want to land it. It's his plane. I don't want to.
Yeah, he must have
Let's
seen
get
that
it.
F-86 video you just showed us.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Hey,
I got this. You're done, Fitz.
Jeez. Now, I know each plane's a little different, but that plane was really nice. It was a real thrill. Thanks again, Russ, let me do that. Of course, it was after I flew. I said, "Yeah, it's the first time I've flown that." He goes, "Wait, that's the first time you've flown a jet?" Yeah.
Wait, what?
But no, it was good. I didn't do anything. I was be sure to be careful with it. It wasn't mine. There was a lot of money in it. So anyways, if you're thinking about doing it, I would be not so worried about it. It's other than they're heavier and they have some nuances to them. They're still airplanes, and a good setup one is probably going to fly pretty good.
Still airplanes. Let's put a couple
Still
of dollar
airplanes.
signs in front of that.
Yeah, there's a few more
Just a
zeros
few more
after
dollar
signs.
signs.
Yeah, Decimal place got moved over a little bit.
Mark,
But it
have
was
you ever
fun.
had-
It was okay.
Sorry. I was looking at Mark. Mark, have you flown a turbine?
I've not. I've been around them. I love the technology, and of course, the sound is just perfect. Been in scale, competition scale, so I've seen a lot. But I've also seen what happens when things go wrong with them. And
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
not that I'd wish that on anybody, but that's not a gamble I really want to take right now. So I watch from afar and enjoy them. I will watch Fitz do his thing from here and be happy.
I for the longest time I felt the same way, and I still for the most part do, except this particular jet came off at an offer I couldn't refuse, so I ended up picking it up. But like you, I've seen the same thing. Were you there, Lee, when we saw the F-14 go in at Bomber? And that's a twin.
And it was. I mean, and we knew it was going in. That was the part that was like everybody was like, that ain't gonna last much longer.
No, it was a lot of warning. That sucker was going down.
Oh man, you could just see the sweat just falling off him like a waterfall. Yeah, we unfortunately saw a very sad F-14 did not make it. Although I have seen an A-10 Warthog at Bomber flame out, and that guy saved it. It was, and we were just all jumping for joy. It was pretty cool. So
Yeah.
that's all right. You had another.
She doesn't mean a man out of money. All right, that's enough for me yakking away. I had a fun.
Do you have any other stuff in the queue waiting on a maiden?
Yeah, well, I have one that's maiden, but I need to fly some more. That is the Pete and Paul from Legend Hobby. Lee was there. He got some pictures of the maiden of it. So it has flown once, and I'm trying to get coordinated with my video guy to do some more flying. I didn't really get to work to ring it out that much. I think I did a loop with it, and that was about it. So I really want to put it through its paces. Flew really nice. It took off a lot sooner than I thought it would. That sucker just popped right up in the air. And it's a big plane, and it's not a lightweight, but I guess it's got a light enough wing loading that it got up in the air, and it flew pretty good. I was pretty happy with it.
Yeah,
You
muffler
said
didn't
Legend
fall off.
Hobby. Is that the Seagull?
Yeah, Seagull models. Yep,
Okay.
Seagull models. And that's their 108-inch, I believe, or something like that, ish.
It's pretty big.
It's big. It's got a scale pilot in it. It's got the newer Stinger engine. Has a new engine, a 63 cc that it's got in there. So that's interesting to see how theirs works. And I did the Shock Cub has gotten re-engined, and that's for Model Aviation Review. It's got a self-starting engine in it now, 40 cc. Look for that in the upcoming review.
And then when he gets his turbine waiver, he'll upgrade it to a turbine. Everything's just going to go jet after that.
Yeah, turbo cub. Yes.
Turboprop. Yeah.
Turboprops. Yes. Yeah.
Counter-rotating.
Counter-rotating turboprops. Yeah. Give me all the jets.
Contra-rotating.
But I do have an airframe or two that could be converted to a jet turbine if I show desire. But I don't know. I don't think I'm going to go crazy with it. But anyways. So that's for the most part, and there's a few other things trickling in. Hopefully, I'll get a chance to get to. Trying to catch up.
Well, I probably jumped the gun a little bit there because I asked you about what you're working on, and that's really down the line. We're going to talk about everybody's workshop stuff here pretty soon.
But I got another thing for his workshop stuff, so I have something to show later.
Good. We'll come back to you then.
Okay.
But for now, we're getting ready to meet up.
Yeah.
In 2
Indeed
weeks.
we are.
Yeah.
Let's tune into this quick promotional video for you, those watching. Here we go.
Oh, that's nasty.
Next week.
Is it that? Wow.
Next
week,
we will all be in Muncie.
No,
Mark, will you be in Muncie? You're in Ohio. I don't know, do you want to take a visit? Bring over one of the Ravens so Terry can fly it?
I won't be for that one. I've got a prior commitment, but no. You guys have fun in my place.
So we will be there. I hope those of you who are watching, hey, and Phil will be there. Just go there to see Phil. That's all you need. He's got his turbine waiver.
There you go.
Right.
But we will be there. I hope you guys come by and see us. We will have my trailer and a tent set up at Site 3. So that's mainly where we'll be, but we have other obligations to do some recordings, photos around site, and I don't know, Fitz, can I talk about what you might be doing at Site 1 on Friday? Or do you want to keep that?
Let's keep that down.
Okay, we'll keep that.
Yeah.
Terry, we'll tell you. We'll tell you, Terry, when we get there on Friday.
We'll talk about it after the fact if it all goes well.
Could I put a
let's
plug
just
in
say
for
there's
somebody
some. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Mark.
I'm saying, can I put a plug in for somebody that will be there in my behalf? Lucian from Innovative Designs.
Oh, yeah.
will be
All
there.
right.
Oh, he's been
Yeah,
on
he's been on
the
the
show.
show.
I'm not sure everything that he's going to bring there, but he's one of my dealers, carries my kits. There might be some of my kits
fantastic.
there. I don't know, but
Stick the Raven
will
in
be
there. We'll do some video with the fun fly for it. And Terry
he
can
will-
give you his thumb.
he will be there anyway. So if nothing
good.
else, stop by and say hi. He's a
That's
great guy.
great.
Yeah, it'd be good to meet
awesome.
him in person.
Yeah, that'd be neat.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of people there. I mean, we've been told. I mean, some people on emails and so forth or chats that they're going to catch up with us. So that's really good. I hope to see many of you there. Don't know exactly where we'll be all the time, but I'm hoping in the 1 to 2 o'clock hour, Muncie time, Eastern time, that we will be at Site 3. So try to meet us around that time at the facility. We are hoping that we'll do a live show with some staff members and other guests and do a quick recording while we're there. Probably sit down with our microphones and stuff. So you're welcome to come, bring a chair and hang out with us.
Is that
Other than
Saturday?
that's Saturday night.
Okay. Wait, hold on. I thought you said 1 o'clock.
Well,
Say-
that's when we're meeting. No, come hang out with us. Hopefully we'll all be there at Site 3 around 1 or 2 o'clock. So you can come
Okay.
visit with us, fly with us. But we'll record a show later in the evening where we can sit down. So hopefully you'll be there later in the evening. I'm sorry if I was talking too fast. Wasn't being very specific. Terry has to put me back on
No,
track here.
it's not you. Sometimes I listen slower than you talk. That's all.
I was just there. Okay, so yeah, I Mike's in the chat, but Tom is reminding us that he is going with his B-24 in my trailer. So Mike's driving with us, and also I don't know if I've made it official with both of you boys, but Austin will be joining us too. So Austin will be bringing his planes. I've already asked him to do some volunteer work up at Site 1 during the Buddy Box flying training for young kids.
Put him to work.
I am. He's really good. You guys have worked with him at AirVenture, and he pours his heart into it, and he's really good at helping those people who need. I mean, I think above anything else, yes, he's a great pilot. But when people needed parts or something, Austin was coming to my trailer, my toolkit, and getting people back in the air. So kudos to him. So I think
he won't mind.
Yeah, he's got 20 of these. So that'll be nice. Yeah. But Mike's going to bring this beautiful B-24. So hopefully it'll travel safe in my trailer. There's hopefully enough room, Mike, so we should be okay. But yes, we're definitely bringing a lot of planes with us. But above all, it's just great fun. And so if you can make it out there, there's no pilot charge. Obviously, bring some money for the raffle prizes and some snacks and all that. But today, we announced on AMA's social media that there'll be some biplane rides available at Reese Airport, which is just south of IAC, the International Air Modeling Center, Terry. And at Site 4, we'll have paramotorists. Kyle Jarris is like leading the pack. So I've seen him fly at I say AMA Club AMA, but what I meant to say is he's flown there at IAC before. He's a really good pilot, and I know he loves that hobby. So he's going to do some of that there. Site 4 will also have RC flying, but we're going to have times set for both. And Site 1, again, is more for the training. We'll have the sim trailer there. We'll have some free flight going on. Some kids will be able to build their own free flight models. And again, buddy boxing. And the museum will be open. Please go see the museum. And we'll have a lot of vendors and sponsors at the entrance to meet and greet people coming in. It will be a blast.
Somebody asked me earlier today what the runway situation is at Site 3. So it's paved with the grass off to the side?
There are 2 runways, but they'll just pick one. But it's paved with everything, the flight line, everything to the south of you at the pilot station is a long flight line that they'll have tents and cars set up.
Okay, great. And do you know are there any organized events, or is it open flying and maybe some demos?
Site 3 may have some demos, but most of the day will be open flying.
All right, cool.
Yeah. So, yes, Phil, and I might be flying your other Avanti. There's a great inside joke about that. So if it's still there and in somewhat flying condition, I'll fly the yellow one for you.
Well, you mentioned the biplane ride a few minutes ago. I'm certainly planning on doing that. The airplane, I just found out, is a new standard, it's a twin cockpit airplane. The back cockpit is where the pilot sits, but the front cockpit can fit 3 or 4 or 5 people. They're like bench seats. And so I think that'll be fun. They have the same airplane at Rhinebeck.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, I've been kicking myself. When I was at Rhinebeck in 2012, so a dozen years ago, I hemmed and hawed and waited too long and didn't buy the ride. By the time I committed that I was going to do it, they were sold out. So I'm like, all right, next time I get this opportunity, I'm going to do it. So I'm getting in that airplane with or without you, jokers.
So first thing in the morning on Saturday, you need to sign up because, it's limited number of rides during the day. So you need to be on that list so you can get over to Reese Airport.
Yeah. And I also found out that the pilot who's going to be flying those biplane rides we have a mutual friend. One of our friends is his friend. So if I haven't told you that yet, I'll tell you offline. So small world once again.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, is that all we're going to say about the National Fun Fly in Muncie, Indiana?
Just come hang out with us.
Yeah, we're going to have fun, so you might as well come have fun with us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Group photo.
There you go. And did we say free stickers? Come get your RC Roundtable stickers and come fly Plywood Overcast and sign it.
Yeah.
What do you guys charge for autographs?
I think we have to pay.
Yeah, we pay you.
Please take our autograph.
All right, are we ready to move on?
Well, yeah,
Yes, we
but
are.
if you don't, if you don't mind, can I do the workbench first?
Sure.
Because I want to segue about Plywood Overcast.
Go
Oh,
right
yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, so on my
Give us a
workbench, well, I hope it's good, but on my workbench is this bad boy. What have you done? Fitz was like, you broke it.
I'm all tensed up inside.
I don't have every detailed photo, but if you've been following our show for quite some time, This is where Terry has been begging me to put spoilers or activate the spoilers on Plywood Overcast. And I will make this quick. Everything was taped shut on the spoiler and the hole underneath. I removed the tape, accidentally removed that guy's signature. I carefully put it back on the spoiler. So the tape, they were just taped on.
That's
but
a
I had
forged
to.
signature?
No, it's a signature. I've kept it there, but it broke my heart to have to cut the covering because it's such a nice covering job. But I had to get the old bracket that was in there. So there is a hard wired braided cable that runs through the wing back to the center section. I don't have that photo here to show you. That has two wires, so you can pull either bell crank. And the way it was set up was with a third bracket that actually pulled both of the top and bottom spoilers. I don't need that, so I had to cut this open to remove it. It was pretty heavy too. So I will attach a control horn of sorts to the spoiler and then have it pull through to the connecting line. I'll put probably two mini metal gear servos in the center section. They don't have to be big to run each one as ailerons, and then we can program them to be spoilerons, excuse me.
So you're not going to use the bell crank system?
I am, but there was an existing large heavy bracket in there to pull both top and bottom. So I removed that, and I'll just use one to do the top.
In my brain, I was just going to throw a standard size servo beneath each spoiler with a short push rod. But you're using the original hardware.
No, I can still use the bell crank, and the wiring system's fine. And it makes. And by the way, there are already holes drilled in the center section for servo wires. So why do too much? Now, yes, I did cut that, but you had to. I mean, I unfortunately had to remove the covering. But
So were you able to determine what kind of covering that is?
No, but I don't know if you can zoom in here, but it's got some texture to it. Can you see that?
Yeah, I was never sure what it was.
Looking dope.
No, it's no, it's not. It's not silk and dope. But can you see some of the pattern here too?
It's some sort of fabric.
Yeah, but it's an iron-on fabric. Anybody in the chat room wish to make a guess at what kind of fabric this is? I would say it's pretty thick, but not terrible. I mean, you can see how it curls pretty well here. Let's see if my other picture has anything. No, there you go.
So the follow-up question is, how are you going to patch it?
Yeah, that was my next question too.
Oh, I'm going to cover it up. Just don't get mad when you see it.
You're not going to put a hatch in there instead?
I don't know. What do you think?
I think you should put a hatch on it so you can do maintenance if you need to.
I don't know. Mica film? I don't know if I've ever used that.
I don't think that's mica. I have mica playing with mica film and it looks different. Unless it's
If you save that sample, bring it to Muncie.
The sample's not coming off. I'm keeping the sample on.
Oh,
that's why I didn't cut. See, that's why it's still attached. So what I was going to do is just pull tight and then tape up the sides.
Oh, okay.
I just didn't want to do too much damage. What?
Just kidding. You might have to put a lip around that opening so that you have a place to adhere the covering back to.
Cover's not going to hear anything.
The cover's not going to adhere to anything?
Well, it's not going to touch. It's just there's no wood beneath it if you fold it back.
Duct tape, man.
So what if you did both? What if you put a hatch or a piece of wood would hinge where you didn't cut it, and that way you can seal it back to the wood, and then you can have a hatch too, of sorts.
For those of you listening, we are way over engineering a very simple.
Anyway, I'm just going to stop talking about that. So on my workbench is Plywood Overcast. I have to have that done by next week. The other item that's on my workbench, which I'm kind of excited to share, have you guys ordered your copy?
No, I saw that after that.
I need to do it. Yeah. I get it. Didn't get around to it yet.
I'm not going to go into details because this is beyond me. Like this is like where I hope to be someday when I have time to like be half the quality of what Chris produces. But I just want to share with you because I know Chris might not be watching, but this is hilarious. I told Chris, I said, when I get my copy, would you please write me something really nice? To Lee, you're the wind beneath my wings. Thanks for the fun conversations and support. So, I got a sticker and I got a signature. So when I think I can go up to my, the level of scale details, I will cherish this. So thanks, Chris Wolf.
Hold that up. Yeah, Chris Wolf, the RC Geek. His book is entitled Mastering the Art of Scale Aircraft Painting and Finishing. And he's pretty okay at that stuff, being a Scale Masters champion. So he knows what he talks about.
He does.
He kind of does. Kind of sort of does.
Maybe we'll have him back on and he can give us some excerpts. Maybe some little...
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And I know he's working on a second book too, so...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, he's prolific as well.
What's so great about the scale thing anyways?
Dumbing it down for Lee.
Dumbing it down, yeah. Scale modeling for dummies.
Yeah. There you go.
All
right, that's all I got.
Yeah. While we're continuing on the workbench stories, Mark, do you have anything new that you're working on since the Raven?
I do, and I'm going to briefly show you something. This is not something I normally do because I keep things under wraps. I'm not going to tell you what this is or what it's going to be a part of, but we'll let you guys use your imaginations.
It's an airplane.
Is it an undercambered airfoil?
Yeah, I noticed that.
Okay.
Something old timey.
I'm
And
not
that's
going to
just
say
the
a
inner-
single word.
So polyhedral, right?
Yeah, for those listening, we're looking at a wing structure, a segment that's got, I don't know, a chord of maybe 12 inches and some undercambered ribs.
I'm going to
I'd
guess
say
World
this
War
is
One-ish.
Roughly 12, probably 12 inch and maybe a 14-inch wide piece, something like that.
Do we get to
Okay.
guess, or are you not going to tell us?
I'm not going to say a thing,
Oh, okay.
but you asked me, so I'm going to show you a little bit.
All right.
That's coming.
All right, cool. Well, keep an eye, and I assume you'll announce this when it's ready on your usual channels.
I hope so. Yeah.
It needs cap strips.
I will say for what it's going to be, that's going to be a lot of cap strips.
Oh, nice.
All right,
So,
so I know.
If it goes as planned, it'll probably be in the fall sometime, I would guess.
All
All
right.
right, look forward to it. So I have to say that in your picture, that registration number being upside down really bugs me.
On which one?
The picture behind him. There's a looks like a drawing
Like a
on the right.
view.
There's a 3 view, and the registration number is upside down.
Well, it's a Cub. It's upside down because the plane.
It's pointing down.
Yeah.
Well, we're not pointed up.
I didn't draw it.
This is triggering my OCD. man.
Fitz is freaking out. It's like, that's a Terryism right there. There's the stars and bars.
I've
That
been
was
around Terry too long.
I don't know, my wife or somebody got that for me. I think it was from Sporties. And it's somebody's take on a Cub blueprint. But of course, we all know there's no such thing as a Cub blueprint since they drew it on the floor and it disappeared. But yeah, I don't know why it's upside down. Sorry. Hold my hand up over there.
There you go.
Our guest has to apologize to the host because he was triggered by upside down an N number.
I was like, why?
Welcome to the 200th-ish episode of the RC Roundtable podcast.
I'm just glad I'm not the one who was triggered this time. All right, so thanks for sharing that, Mark. I'm working on some guesses. I'm going to email them to you. So for my workbench, I've been working on the SR batteries Eindecker. It kind of sat idle for a few weeks, and I finally got back to it earlier this week.
Yeah.
The fuselage is coming together, and this kit is kind of renowned for being a large-scale laser cut kit, but on the fuselage, it's still mostly cutting sticks and gluing them together over the plans. Yeah, with the photo you're looking at here, the only laser cut parts are those light ply sides towards the front. All that structure in the back started out as raw lumber. I guess the gussets are laser cut too, but anyway, it goes together rather well. And, you know, Mark, you were talking about all the effort you put into your manuals, and I think that's where this SR kit really excels. The instruction manual for this kit it's in like 3 different sections, and they're all thick. So it's very detailed, very precise, very easy to follow. So you look at it, you're like, gosh, how am I ever going to get through this instruction manual that's 3 inches thick? But it goes so fast because each step is covered by, several photos and a lot of text. So there's not a lot of guesswork involved at all in here. So yeah, I'm real happy with the progress. Lee, can you go to the next image here? Yeah, so you can see right now I've got the fuselage sides together, and it's starting to get a sense of how big this thing is going to be. The wingspan is 100 inches. I haven't measured the length yet, but it's going to be a pretty big airplane. I'm still trying to figure out the power system I'm going to use. It'll be electric, probably either an 8S or a 10S. Anyway, so I'll get more of it together before I start deciding that stuff. But I'm happy that it's. Go ahead.
Was it completely unbuilt?
No, when I bought it, I bought this from Mike McGraw's estate when I lived in Houston.
Right.
And the wings were mostly built. They were probably 95%
Okay.
built. But the fuselage, everything else was still in the box. So that's where I picked it up from. I finished the wings. I did the tail feathers and the ailerons. And I sanded and I sanded and I sanded some more. I coughed up a bunch of balsa dust. And then just recently I started on the fuselage. So yeah, it's coming along pretty well. My goal is to finish it for the Warbirds and Classics event that's in August up here in Fond du Lac. There's really no excuse not to, but life happens. So I do have a goal to push forward on it. So yeah, I'll keep you updated as I move forward on it. So there's the Eindecker, and now that I've got 2 workbenches in my shop, the other side has another new Surface model. And don't you want to hear about it? It's strange because it seems like every time I find something on Facebook Marketplace, I'm going to quietly go out and get it. Lee calls. I'll be in my car and the phone will ring. What you up to, Terry? It's like he has this.
I sense something. Something's wrong with the force.
Yeah. So I found a good deal on a local car. And let me grab it real quick. So this is a Kyosho Ultima.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the reason
Kyosho.
What's that, Mark?
Kyosho.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just mark off your bingo card.
So this was not this one, but an Ultima was my very first RC car back in 1980 something, 88 maybe. And so this one is in exceptionally good shape. I think it's a survivor. It has the original tires on it, on front and back. They're not worn down like most of them are.
Wow, really used.
Yeah.
Original battery?
Yeah, you laugh. Wait till I show you this. The one thing I did like about the Ultima is that it had these weird zip ties. But yeah, look at this.
NiCad?
Oh, gosh, look
Yes.
at that.
Yes, the
1200
original
milliamp
battery.
hours. Yes.
It took a charge. I haven't tried discharging yet, but it took a charge. Right.
Yeah, cycle it a few times. See what it does.
So here's some interesting trivia for you guys. Back in that time when there was Kyosho and Tamiya, this was the standard Tamiya plug, which is, this is the one that was on Kyosho batteries.
Yeah.
The one that was on Tamiya batteries was the opposite. So if you bought a Tamiya battery, it had I would guess this is female because the content part is female, but the plastic part is male. So they were not compatible with each other. They were the same plug, but they just reversed which side went on which component.
Yeah.
So anyway, this has the original Kyosho plug on it.
Can you back up for a second? I'm just curious. Pull the battery back up. What gauge is that wire? It looks very thin, questionable thin.
Probably 16.
That's fine.
Okay.
You couldn't pull that much through those connectors anyway, so the connector was the weak spot, not the wires.
Okay, well, when you brought it, when you had it in your hand, I was like, "Dang, that's right then."
On the long list of things that get so hot you can't touch them on this car, the wire is pretty far down.
Okay.
Does it have
have
electronic speed control?
No, and I'll get to that in a
Resistor?
second. I'll give you a preview here. That's a resistor inside of a little aluminum cage.
Yeah.
But this is the original motor that came with it. And if you look, like these are the original wheels. They're not all beat up from whacking into curves and things like that.
Beautiful. Did they ever even run it?
Well, yes, it's dirty enough that it seems like it was run. But I mean, I don't know if you'll see in this camera. But
I don't think it was enjoyed. I don't think someone thoroughly enjoyed.
The gears look very good.
Yeah.
Man, did you not wet yourself when they said, "Well, I'll take $5 for it"?
Well, no, I paid a little more than that for it.
Okay.
But,
But I bet when you looked at that, you were like, wow, this thing is really good.
Well, sort of. I actually slept on it for a little while because, I've been looking for an Ultima for a while, and I found one a few months back on RC Groups, and I bought it. But it wasn't nearly as nice as this one. So my plan was, I'll get this one, and I'll just fix it up, and that'll be fine. But then when I saw this one, I'm like, I have to. I can't leave that Survivor sitting there. So, yeah, I'm really excited about it. The body's in good shape. It's not cracked up. And whoever did this originally did a good job on it. All these stripes here, these are stickers. These stickers are now, 30-something years old, and they're not cracked or anything. So, anyway, it's just a really unique Survivor that I'm happy about. Now, I don't know if they're drawbacks or just little foibles on it. The same thing that I found on almost all the old Kyoshos that have these red shocks. The shock collars get dry rotted and they split. So this one has split shock collars.
Ultima, are they plastic or something? Or?
They're nylon, but they're under a lot of stress. If you over tighten that screw, especially after they dry rot, they'll crack. They make a re-release of the Ultima, which looks a lot like this, but there are some differences. One of those differences is that those shocks, they look a lot the same. These are 10 millimeter diameter. The new ones are 12 millimeter diameter. So if you have one of these old ones, you're like, I'll just buy the new shock collars and put them on my old car. You'll find out that they don't fit. And dumb guys like me find that out after they've ordered them and got them to their house. But with a little research, I found out that one of the other re-release cars, a Scorpion, which is one of the first when they started doing these re-releases, it actually had the 10 millimeter shocks. So you can get new shock collars. You just can't buy Ultima shock collars. You got to make sure you get the right ones. So I've got those on the way. And then if you look on the front, you can tell they replaced the original red shocks with, they're either Kyosho Golds, which will be an upgrade, or Duratrax copies of that. I'm not sure why they did that when everything else is original, but it's there, so I'll probably swap them out for some red ones. So let me pull the body off real quick, which is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, one of the things I always liked about those Ultimas was the metal chassis.
Yeah, one of the things I was going to point out that makes you realize it doesn't have a lot of runtime. If you look at these nylon nuts up here, which are the high points of the car, so the nylon nuts here and this aluminum part here and the wing, none of those are scratched up. And if you run this thing for any amount of time on your street, you're going to flip it and it's going to get road rash. None of that's on here. So if they did run it, they did it like indoors or something on carpet. I don't know. But if you look at the bottom of the chassis, not only is it not scratched up, there's a sticker on here that's, I guess, been there forever. And you can still see some of the writing. M. Myers, and there's a phone number on here. So maybe I'll call the number.
Go call. You're missing your car?
Yeah. And also interesting that it has an anti-roll bar up front, which was not standard on the original kit. So I don't know why it's there, but it's there.
It might be an upgrade, though, wasn't it?
Maybe, but you would think it gets upgraded because they're driving it, but there's no other evidence that they were really driving it that much. So some conflicting information here. We'll have to dig into the archaeology of it. Yes, Lee.
Are you bringing RC cars with you to the Fun Fly?
I haven't decided yet. I'm trying to figure out how much room I have. One of my buddies, Aaron from up here, is coming down to Muncie with me, so we're going to have fun. I'm pretty sure I'm going to bring at least one boat to play around in the pond. I'm not sure about cars. You said there's going to be a track set up or some sort of racing?
I heard there will be some RC cars.
All right, so I'll probably bring something then. All right, so I pulled the body pins off of here, and it actually rotates on the back. So I've got that, and you can see there's the original servo, and then here's the mechanical speed control, and the servo for it is in the chassis. And they had the receiver in here. It's in a bag to protect it from water. So it all looks, time capsule from 1987. So I'm super happy about that. And it also came with the original radio, the Kyosho Pulsar radio.
Yeah.
And out of curiosity, it didn't have batteries in it, but out of curiosity, I put some AA's in it, and boom, it works. Yeah. So I'll have to put some power to the car and see if all the things move the way they're supposed to. But anyway, I'm sorry if I'm boring the airplane guys, but I'm super excited about this new toy of mine. And really, it only needs a wipe down to get the dust off, and then to fix those shock collars and replace the front shocks, and it'll be right out of the Kyosho showroom. So I'm happy with it. Another mysterious Facebook find right down the road.
Are you going to run it though, or are you just going to put it in a glass case as a museum piece?
I'll probably handle it with big fluffy mittens and put it in my glass case. I'll keep it so it is able to be operated. Maybe drive it around every now and then. But
He's going to run it in a bubble.
yeah,
Like the bubble boy. Just going to put the car inside.
oh, yeah. That'll be fun. So so that's my latest toy. I'm happy with it, and yeah.
Oh, cool. Good try.
Yeah, I was happy.
Congrats.
All right, so I think we've had Lee's workbench and my workbench and Mark's. So we're coming back to you, Fitz. You said you had more workbench stuff to share.
Yeah. Repair stuff. As we walk over here. Excuse me while I walk over here. So, Lee, you'll appreciate this. I've started working on it.
I'm so sorry. I'm still sorry about that, buddy. What y'all are not
okay.
seeing is a twimber.
Yeah, so this is my twimber that I still got to put the tail on, but I started reconstructing the nose. In fact, I can take the tape off. If you don't know the story, I met Lee at I think it was Scobie, right?
Yeah, it was Kobe.
And we were flying around, and Lee was like, "Hey, why don't you do a nice inverted pass with the twimber? This is twin timber." And I said, "Yeah, sure." But coming down the flight line, when they say, "What is this? Down is up and up is expensive." Well, I did an up inverted.
I was taking photos rapidly, and in one frame it was inverted, the next frame it was gone from my frame. It just gone straight down. It was like nowhere to be seen. I was like, oh, where to go?
It was one of those things. It was like a muscle memory for some reason twitched in the wrong direction, and so it did an inverted whack into the runway, and it beat up the nose pretty good, and it wiped out the leading edge slats. But otherwise, it wasn't really that much damage. I did get a new canopy cowl thing from the older one, got kind of banged up. The only thing is, both props broke, and they're out of stock on one of the props because it has contra-rotating props. And so I got one prop, so I was hoping to bring it to Muncie, but if I can't get another prop, then it's going to stay home. But anyways, it's not a big deal. But it was such a fun plane to fly.
You heard me.
I think they're specifically...
They're three-bladed, aren't they?
They're three-bladed, and I got one here. Let me hold on a second.
Have you thought about 3D printing a nose cone instead?
No, not a nose cone, a prop.
No, have you thought about 3D printing a nose cone? I was seeing how badly it crushed it was. I was just wondering if you thought about...
The nose cone survived.
Oh,
believe it or not.
Okay.
So it was just the prop broke, both of them. Yeah, I think I still have the wing with the prop stuck through it. I don't think I took it out. Hold on, give me a second. I'll walk over here. This is one of the wings. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, both spinners are okay. This is untouched since it crashed. It got banged up, and you can see the prop through the wing.
You should just leave it there.
Yeah, that's a good point. If I just glue it in there.
Just a dot of hot glue. That's it. That's all you need.
As a reminder, when you're inverted.
You might need a little bit of left to rudder correction because the blade's at an angle.
Yeah.
Minor trim.
And I've had bad luck lately. This is my erratics
I did.
Got beat up. This wasn't a flight act. This was a hangar accident.
Oh.
This was hanging up in the, I guess it's not focusing, but it was hanging up where it normally hangs up. I walked into the garage one day and I just walked over and I said, why is there a box on top of the car? That box is usually up in the rafters. And when I look up and here's the erratics in looking really beat up. was like, oh crap! The box fell down from the rafters, went through the erratics. It's like, oh. So it's repairable, but it's kind of you can't really see it that well. It's kind of banged up. I think mainly just this aileron and this wing here got loosened up. I think that's it. Actually, it looks worse than it is.
Part of your wheel pant there is gone.
Yeah, part of the wheel pant got whacked off. So maybe I'll just break the other one and make it symmetrical.
There you go.
You save some weight.
Yeah. So there's my workshop repair doodad. Oh yeah, you probably see just a bit of the Bearcat. I was tinkering with the Bearcat a little bit.
Yeah,
nothing much to talk about it. I was mounting the prop and trying to get the spinner cone on it and setting up. It's really, really close to being started up. So just getting yesterday I went and picked up some switches for it. I got one of those switch. Is it over here somewhere? We got like a dual switch thing for the ignition and the power. So I figured I had a few extra minutes to tinker with it. But the prop is mounted. I just got to find a way to get the little spinner thing on it. I got a little, one of those little nub things for. You have to electric start it. There's no hand starting this thing, so I'm trying to get this adapted to work with it.
Yeah. Speaking of those, I was going through my stuff the other day, and I found a true turn spinner like that. I forget what the diameter is, like 3 1/4 inch. Whatever's on the website. Yeah. And so I don't have any use for it, so I'll put it on Facebook or something. So if anybody listening has a need for the
double check the diameter. Are you sure it's like 3 inches or 2? Or
I thought it was 3 1/4, but I'll check after this and let you know.
Does it look like this, or is it something?
No, it's that style of the prop hub, whatever they call it. And I think this one is specifically for a T6, but yeah, they all look.
Oh, okay. Because this is only 1 3/4 inches.
Okay. But they do make bigger ones.
Yeah. Tell me the size. I might be interested in it, depending on the size.
All right, fair enough.
This one's a little, I think, just touch on the small side, but it's the only one I have, or only one they seem to have in this size. So,
all right.
Just as I'd like to have first dibs if it's what I need.
Okay. The Bearcat didn't have that anyway.
I don't know what it had.
Hey,
it had something, right?
Yeah.
I haven't even paid attention.
Sorry,
what does it
I was
have?
going to remind you, Fitz, though, at the Fun Fly is a swap meet. So
right.
You might find something. So those of you who might be listening, if we can get this out in time, and you have prop hubs that or larger, whatever Fitz needs, bring it with you. Empty Fitz's pockets. He will pay you for all the parts he needs.
I'm looking up Bearcats. Oh yeah, that doesn't really have much of anything, does it? I didn't even think to look. Okay, so maybe I'll stick with the little one just to keep it not too obnoxious. I don't think
anybody would fault you.
Yeah, well, the racer one has a full spinner, but not the Warbird.
Yeah, there's like a little slit to get air to the engine about that wide all the way around.
But like I said, that engine it needs electric start. You can't hand start it. At least not that I know of. Even the manual says use electric starter. Because there's no choke either on it. So okay, all right. Well, I'll see if this works. It should, but I was just a little worried it might be a little small.
All right.
Anyway, that's it for me.
I'll send you a picture of what I have.
Okay.
All right. So I think the last thing on our list was to talk about any events we've recently been to. Have you guys been to any events?
Goose egg.
Really?
Well, the fly-in I went to where I got the fly was a giant scale. That was it. Giant scale event. Yeah, was there anything else? Lee, you didn't get to the Bomber Warbird event, did you? Okay, so that was
baseball. Baseball has encompassed my past month of my life, so we're done with it now. He played well, played his heart out, but we didn't make it.
All right.
Yeah, so I guess 2 since our last show I went to.
All right. Well, I haven't been to anything big, but I've mentioned a couple of times my club up here in Green Bay where we just changed to a new field, so we're kind of getting our feet wet with that. And what we're trying to do this summer is have a social night every Tuesday during the summer where people just come out and fly, run what you burn, that kind of thing. And that started last weekend. So a handful of us were out there, and I took my Prairie Bird, which I don't know if you know it by name, but you would certainly recognize it if I showed you a picture. It's an old free flight design, but they also made a larger 50-inch span version that was for 2-channel half A. And Lee, I got this from that lot, the auction, right after I moved up here. Remember the one that was a few hours away? Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I got it for, I think, a couple bucks. But it's a neat airplane. I modified it to electric, and it flies great. And another friend of mine, Jason, who's in the club, he's got one too that somebody gave him, and we modified his to electric. And so we were up there flying them at the same time the other day. It's two Prairie Birds. Yeah. And it was kind of a windy day, but they flew great. It was neat to have two of them up at the same time. So, yeah, and I'm hoping the weather holds out so I can go back tomorrow and have fun at the new field.
Yeah, shut up.
What?
Have you seen the Gulf?
Oh, yeah.
Are you going to have any best wishes for Fitz and I in the next 3 days?
Just fill out your will and be kind to me.
Stuff is coming. Oh, we got the boat thing this Saturday.
Oh, yeah, I meant to ask you about that. So Fitz's fantastic flotilla of fun.
Yes, it is. It's coming up this Saturday, so hopefully the storm will clear out by then, and it won't be fire and brimstone.
All right. Did Lee make another flyer for you?
Yes. Well, I've been repurposing the one he made some time ago.
Okay.
So I just take that same one and I just change the date on it.
All right. You should post it on our Facebook page or wherever, so people listening in the Houston area.
Yeah, if you're in the Houston area, South Houston, we get together and have a good old time.
And go play with your dinghies.
Yeah. How about you, Mark? Do you get down to? Oh, go ahead.
But back to flotilla. Fitz, did you ever finish that yellow submarine? You had a problem with the motors. You had to buy a new motor. It wasn't enough power or something like that.
Oh,
but did you ever? I'm going to mute him.
What he's referring to is the flying sub from Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. And I got the new motors, but I haven't got around to putting them in yet.
Okay.
So, no, sorry. I need to do that, but I don't know if I'll get around to it before the event. I had kind of forgotten about it. It's over there in the corner.
You're welcome.
So, thank you.
Too many
I'm here
toys
to remind you of all the projects you forgot to finish. There's a DeLorean in your garage, by the way.
Yes, it is. I'm looking at it right now. Hey, I was playing with it today, so it's not forgotten.
Change the windshield wiper.
Hey, at least I do something with it.
This is true. Yeah, you know what? For Fitz's birthday, I think we all should just get him a gift card at the DeLorean Center here in Houston.
Oh, that'll
nice. Help, or at least open him an account.
Get him a lug nut.
Fun.
Lug nut.
Hey, there's a question for you guys from Mike. Will you be at the Scobie event?
Oh gosh, I have not been planning it, but Mike is bringing the 747. Holy smokes!
Yeah, you can't miss that.
Well, shoot. Well, then I have to be there. So I will do my darndest to be at the Scobie Warbird event. July 5th and 6th? Is that what it said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you guys haven't seen the photos and video of Mike Rosnick's 747,
so
I will show that right now because
shuttle carrier aircraft, that is impressive.
Unfortunately, I will not be able to make it.
That's just too bad.
I like you more, Mike, just so you know. I like you more but that's Michael Rosnick's shuttle carrier.
I believe
congratulations
that's
on your HST.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying congratulations. You had a nice, successful flight this weekend. So, not this post, but another one. So
yeah, it was
it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's too bad because he was at Bomber with it and he had forgotten a critical piece, and so he couldn't fly it. And so I got to see it in person. It looks really nice. It's big mother, but didn't get to see it fly. So, but he says it's done pretty good. He said it's. I don't know if he chimes in the chat. He says he really gives the brakes on it a workout when he lands.
Probably a lot of body English when he's getting it on the runway.
Probably, yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah.
On that 747, does he have plans of putting a shuttle at any point on the top?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's his next thing he's working on.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And it'll be releasable, if I remember correctly, and remote controlled. So.
And several people, including Lee, are already jockeying to be the first pilot of the shuttle.
I have raised my hand several times. Maybe you know what? Maybe Mike could make some money doing a raffle off the flight of the shuttle carrier.
Oh yeah.
Just a suggestion.
Charge a
Did you
few
guys
bucks. Yeah.
See this? Michael says he's also talking about bringing it up to my area for the NEMFI fly-in, Owatonna. I think that's in the Minneapolis area, which is about 4 hours from me. I have not been to that event yet.
Man, he's got to travel with it, Minnesota. Yeah, he's got to drive too. That's
a long haul.
Yeah.
So
he's got to take it to. I'm sorry. What was the jet meet that just happened? Jet
the
Jam.
EDF Jet Jam.
Yeah, that's where you got to take it to.
Yeah.
I think that's in Kentucky. No, it's Kentucky Jets is another one. Whatever it was. Mike, you got to go to the next year. Take it to the Jet Jam.
Okay, I want to show this. This is just for Mike to give an idea of what we can do. But actually, this is from Brett Becker. He posted this from the Flying Circus event. Did you guys see this?
Yeah.
Shuttle launch?
Yeah.
Yeehaw!
Oh, yeah.
And I know those of you who are
like that
listening
turd.
don't have this. I'll try to post a link if I can, although I think this is a private group. But this guy just rocket launched a space shuttle.
It's a rocket powered space shuttle. Pretty large.
And it's hard to see the video. It's very tiny because it's a vertical video too. Let's see. Can I get you to?
But it's very dramatic.
Yeah.
And it has the glide ratio of a shuttle.
Yep.
Yeah.
That
And
is
here it comes
actually
landing.
not
Ready?
in a
And
club.
we But I want to do that so bad for the shuttle on Michael's 747. So I hope we can replicate that landing. Should be fun.
A local club to me actually did those for a while. They figured out different ways to blow it up, basically. They tried launching off of various carrier airplanes that didn't work, and they tried taking it off this and that, and they finally did get it to work.
Well,
But
this was
it
the
part of their
Cincinnati,
local circus.
the
Yeah,
Flying Circus, yeah, the
GCRCC.
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's where it was. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And that was probably flown at one of the. That was actually not that video, but their event is held every year, and they just had one this past weekend. I wasn't at that event, but I'm not sure if it flew.
Yeah.
But yeah, they found all sorts of ways to blow it up. Some of the first times I remember it sitting on the launch pad, and they'd light the engines, and the motors would just fly out through the wings, and the glider or the shuttle would still be sitting there burning. And you had two rockets.
Failure to secure your engines.
Yeah, it took a while, but they finally.
It's like a Wile E. Coyote cartoon.
pretty much.
Oh, boy. So, Mark, did you have any events to report on?
Well, actually, the only event that I've been to actually is part of that same club. I'm not a member of that club, but they have been doing something with some of my kits. They have something called the X program, which you may have seen posted on some of my social media stuff, where they have been teaming up a novice builder with an experienced builder and building one of my kits, one of the 56s or the Larks. And the idea is they build them all through the winter, and then during the summer months, like now, and they have a series of fun fly events, which they've been doing. And I've been lucky enough to been invited to the first couple of those and watch. And thankfully, all my planes have survived through all the things that have happened there. But it's been neat to see, watching guys learn how to build, and do something else than just buy an ARF.
Yeah.
It was been a lot of fun. So.
All right, cool.
That's cool. Yeah. Very nice.
All right, Fitz, I got nothing more on my list. It's an hour and 48 minutes. Lee has that little twitch that he gets in his left eye.
Two quick things.
Okay. Oh, you want to continue?
Just two things, and I'm going to be done. Number one, we've updated our Spotify account to include our podcast videos. So if you are already a subscriber on Spotify, if you look to your right, if you pull up the screen on, like if you're on their desktop, but it might show up on your iPhone as well, our videos will be linked. So we uploaded our last video, and we'll start doing that now. So you guys can watch the video through your Spotify account.
Not while you're driving.
Not while you're driving, exactly. But if you are listening and there's a show and tell part, which we do a lot, you can look now right there on your Spotify. That's number
Can
one.
you
Number
watch while you
two,
fly?
Why not? I'm sure people do other crazy things. The other quick thing I thought was really nice. It's kind of one of those about time options. Horizon Hobby or Real Flight came out with a new trainer version, which is less expensive. That can come with a transmitter, so it's really nice. I think it's like 20 models, around 20 models, basic trainer aircraft, both helicopter, fixed wing. I think they may even have a drone in there too. For $80 with a transmitter. And so for those people just trying to get in the hobby at a good price, or for those clubs that are trying to put trainers out for some new members, get them started, I think it's a great option. So if you haven't, if you're listening and you're not flying right now, or you're interested and you want to get a good training software, Real Flight is really good, and that is a good price point.
Do you mean it comes with the dedicated USB transmitter?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. That was always my preferred way to use the simulator. It's probably better to use the actual transmitter you fly with, but I never like the overhead of getting that connected and all that. So,
well, for making a standalone machine, I think $80 makes it really nice.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For just those basic models. And that's how Austin basically learned flying an apprentice. So highly recommend that if you guys are looking to either upgrade. That's, if you're still running like a version 8 or 7, definitely look into the new trainer version. I don't know if they call it Evolution Trainer. It might just be Real Flight Trainer.
Back a lifetime ago, I worked for Dave Brown Products and was
wow.
part of the simulator that he did, the RC flight simulator that he had. And even back then, it sold for more than that. It was around $120 or something, I think, back then. We didn't have near that many models, and obviously not near the software. That's a heck of a price for $80.
So how many floppy disks did that come on?
5.25.
They were 3.5s, and they were the high density ones. I think it was a couple.
1.44 megabytes. Woohoo!
No, not even, probably 720. It's funny you mentioned that. I remember that. I remember going to the RAM show as a teenager, and it was a Dave Brown simulator. And I think the one I was playing was running on an Apple, like an Apple II or something like that.
That would
And
have
it
been
was
the
all,
first ones.
it was all wireframe, and you could count the frame rate. It was, but it was neat. It was nothing like it. And I sat there for quite a few minutes playing with it, flying around. It was really, really neat. But yeah, it was pretty primitive compared to now. But still, it was a groundbreaking thing at the time.
Yeah, but for $80 for that training thing, if you're even thinking about it, don't even hesitate. That's a hell of a
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You'll save easily that much in uncrashed airplanes.
Exactly.
I'm still going back to the waiver that one of the guys I was talking to who was going to sign me off says, hey, you need to know how to perform these particular maneuvers. And so just to get the muscle memory and remember the maneuvers, I fired up the simulator and started flying it in the simulator just to practice the routine, get it down. So it doesn't matter your experience rate. The simulator has a good purpose and utility.
The biggest thing we would always tell people with the simulator is don't try to make the biggest crash. With the Dave Brown thing at the end, it would give you an estimated dollar. It was $900 or whatever the crash. Don't make the biggest crash. Fly it like you're supposed to fly the thing. Then it'll help. But
have you considered a job in demolition?
All right, Lee, anything else you wanted to add?
That was it.
Okay, so I think we're ready for Fitz to take us home.
I'm kind of wondering if that Dave Brown simulator is still around anywhere.
I'd love to get one. It's got to be.
I'd love to have one for my Commodore.
Well, I'm sure there's some out there that you can buy, but they quit manufacturing. He sold off the business. Quite a ways, and that died when he sold the business off. So there's probably some out there somewhere. And that metal case.
eBay. Yeah, the metal case transmitter. Yeah, I might have to go poke around on eBay just for giggles.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Mark, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate you coming in. We talked about model building and kit building, so we want to have a special thanks to you for running a model kit business in the world of ARFs and ready to flies. It can't be an easy thing, and you seem really dedicated and spitting out new models and new designs pretty consistently. So thanks for doing that. As you know, I built a couple of your kits as well. Terry's built one or two. Lee will build one at some point
It's
when he gets
there.
He has one. He just hasn't touched it.
I do.
He has the Mambo, if I'm not mistaken.
I do. I have the Mambo. I haven't given up. But just kids. Kids. There you go. I'm done.
Well, thanks for inviting me, guys. Thanks for letting me talk about stuff. If I could just say one thing, whether it's one of my kits, Boss USA, an old SIG, whatever, build something once in a while. You're going to learn how to fix things, how to do things, why things are the way they are. You don't have to build everything that you fly, but just build something once in a while. And I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, I tell people that. At least one plane in your lifetime, build one just for the experience.
Yeah, it's fun to do. I enjoy the time I'm spending in the basement on the Eindecker lately.
Yeah. I look forward to seeing how that comes out. That's kind of giving me the itch a little bit. I've been cleaning up a little bit to make space. I've got a couple of kits in various stages of construction I need to get to as well. So it is, once you start, you find it actually can be a little cathartic and relaxing, and you have a sense of accomplishment when you do it. So
yeah,
highly recommended.
Did you guys see that Tonya Cursor chimed in just early enough to say goodbye?
Yeah, just in time for us to leave.
Yeah, I was going to say, normally he leaves early, and now he shows up late. Come on, Tony, we gave you notice.
All right, Fitz. So,
Okay.
hold on, one more question. Steve wants to know if you're coming to eat, Mark.
I don't have any plans yet, but I might be. I haven't made plans that far out, to be honest.
well, I'm planning to go. It's 25th anniversary.
All right.
Looking forward to it.
That was one of the more unique flying sites I've ever been to.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Trying to judge how far that mountain or hill or whichever one you want to call it in front of you is, so you're not hitting the trees and all that. I was short by miles, it seemed, but it seemed like I was going to hit it every time I flew by.
I know the feeling. Yep.
But that was a neat place. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, neat is neat. Hopefully one day get up there.
All right.
Hopefully one day. All right then. You guys got any last words before we cut out?
Nope. What's our next anniversary?
All right. I don't know. 300-ish?
Yeah. I don't,
100,
Yeah.
250-ish?
yeah.
Or a year, maybe the 10th year anniversary?
The
Probably
third
first.
time we all wore a blue shirt at the same time.
Yeah, something like that. All right. Well, I'd be remiss. Oh, go ahead.
I'll just say the next time you guys hear us, hopefully it'll be from Muncie. We'll be together at the Fun
Oh,
Fly.
yeah.
We'll do
Maybe we can do something out there.
For the rest of this week, we're going to be cramming, getting our builds done so we can shove them in the trailer next week for the drive. But when we get there, look for our social media channels from some live shorts or reels that we might be doing for us and the AMA. And then, as I mentioned, hopefully on Saturday, we'll have a meet and greet. And then Saturday evening-ish, we'll just depend on the weather and how tired we are. We're going to do a live recording for you guys to tell you what it's all about.
Yeah. With smell-o-vision. You'll know what we smell like after a full day out in the sun.
Smell-o-vision.
Scratch the screen. All right. I think we're done now.
All right. Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't say thanks to everybody for joining us and watching and listening. And, of course, in the chat, we see familiar faces or familiar names. It's always great to see you guys and new faces as well. Thanks for joining us. Remember, you can send us a note at contact@rcroundtable.com. Send us all kinds of good stuff. We always get some neat emails. And if you're listening to this, check us out on YouTube. If you're watching this, check us out on podcasts. Either way, YouTube at rcroundtable.com or your favorite podcast sites. And like and subscribe. Yes, please like and subscribe. Give us some feedback. Let us know how good we're doing, how bad we're doing, whatever. Get the algorithms churning, so people can know that we exist. And on that note, excuse me, I'm reading and talking.
You're reading the
text. Good afternoon, good evening, good night. Yeah, is that somewhere in the world? All right, folks, have a glorious week, and we will see you next time.